Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pain Exchange, a monthly podcast from the International Association for the Study of Pain, highlighting global innovations in pain research and amplifying the voices of our diverse membership. One of the many benefits of IASP membership is the vast network of membership groups that allow members to share experiences, discussions, and areas of interest with their peers. One of the largest groups, the Early Career Network, is comprised entirely of trainee and early career professionals dedicated to the study and management of pain. At the upcoming 2026 World Congress on Pain in Bangkok, Thailand, the Early Career Network has organized an exciting and innovative event designed to foster interdisciplinary collaborations, push the boundaries of pain research and management, as well as connect diverse perspectives from scientists of any background, clinicians, and persons with lived experience. This event is called Pain Hack. Developed and executed by the Early Career Network, the hackathon-based event promises to bring a unique component to the Congress that both trainees and seasoned professionals will be sure to benefit from. To help me understand what this event is and how its participants will be collaborating throughout the World Congress on Pain, I have the pleasure of speaking with Drs. Marie-Eve Hopley, current Marie Curie postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Dusseldorf, and Saul Pascal Diaz, postdoctoral researcher at the Universidad de Barcelona and visiting postdoctoral researcher at Sungkyukwon University in South Korea. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Alrighty, so what are both of your backgrounds in pain?
So I've been always interested in brain mechanisms of pain, and I did my PhD work on brain mechanisms underlying muscle pain and muscle fatigue. And then I went to my postdoc with Dr. Robert Cockhill at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, where I worked extensively on brain mechanisms underlying acute and chronic pain. And that's actually where I met Saul. We worked on a multi-site project together and were more or less responsible to drive the pre-processing of the fMRI data for that project. And now I moved to Germany to the Heinrich Heine University, where I'm continuing my work on brain mechanisms, but I'm focusing more on functional disability and chronic pain.
Yeah, I'm a physicist. So at first I was most interested in methods and signal studies and things like that. But after I finished my bachelor, I started a neuroscience MSc. And then I ended up working in University of Barcelona in the neuroanatomical department. And I was working there and I moved to the hospital, and I was mostly working with neuroimaging, like doing pre-processing and mostly data analysis. And then I met Marina Lopez Sola, which is my supervisor in Barcelona. And through Marina, I started working in the project with Marie. And we've been working together for 4 years. And lucky me that I have her. And after those years, I moved here to South Korea, and I'm working with Wani in Sungkyukwon University. And here I'm working mainly with chronic pain also. I'm keep doing data analysis and neuroimaging, but I am also working with depression and the different things related with chronic pain.
Amazing. So what exactly is a hackathon? And why do you think it works well at the World Congress on Pain?
So a hackathon is typically a short event that lasts 1 to 3 days, and it's team meeting to work collaboratively on project. And this project aims at solving or at least making progress towards a solution for real life problems. And in our experience, both Raul and I work in collaboration with other teams since we met on a multi-site project. And we also worked in an interdisciplinary fashion. And for us, it just made sense to incorporate a hackathon type event in ISP because we have all this diversity, very rich diversity of clinicians and scientific of different background. And so it just fits perfectly the idea of the hackathon to have people meet together and work on projects to try to make progress towards better pain management and understanding pain better.
Also, I think that we both like working together and we like to work with more people. And we are working persons. So it's like, okay, let's work with more people. So then we can have more projects and then we can do more things. That's how we like to do that.
Sounds like a no-brainer. No pun intended.
I think our idea was also like we all have so many projects in mind, right? And sometimes it's just not your main project. So having like a kind of safe space that is safe to do those like side projects that might actually be really important is always a good idea. And that's what we wanted to offer to people.
Yeah, and especially pain is often a secondary symptom, a result, something that not a lot of people are focusing on. So it's nice that at this kind of event, you can focus on pain rather than like the conditions causing it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But that's the case even in research, right? Because a lot of teams are doing pain as a like kind of secondary thing and then not really focusing on pain. So it also gives a chance to focus more on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was about to say that also it's a good opportunity because we don't always have the chance to meet together with a lot of different people with different fields that are also studying pain. And having a meeting like the World Congress on Pain, it's an opportunity for us to meet with different professionals that are working with pain, but with different aims to work together.
Exactly. So when I think of a hackathon, I'm thinking of like coding, all the stuff on computers. Is that actually what's happening, or is it more like project hacking?
I think, to be fair, we'll have a bit of both. We have some projects where there will be some coding, and obviously, and we will can discuss about that a bit later. But obviously, we'll put people on those projects who are comfortable with coding. But we also have projects that won't require much coding, that are going to be more focused on adjusting scales or making sure that the needs of different communities are met or things like that.
And I think that those projects are just taking advantage of having people together, because for some projects, it just need 10 different professionals working together for 2 days or 3 days, something like that. But they need to have different points of view to form the process. And that's a good thing that we can have all of these people together.
Yeah. And a lot of the like task forces and guideline committees, that's what they're doing. They're like coming together for a couple days and discussing things like that. So it's really cool that the Early Career Network is actually like hosting a venue for this to happen. So I see on the Congress website that there are 2 different tracks that participants can pursue, a project and a professional development track. What exactly are those?
Yeah, those are the 2 main parts of the pain hack. And this is how we decided to split pain hack into different parts. First one, it's the project track. And project track is where we work. So it's a part of the pain hack or the hackathon where we put everyone together. We will have 10 teams and we will have the 10 teams working together for the 2 days working. And that's the part where some of them code. I hope to be coding a bit there, but we will have different people doing different stuff. Some of them will be, for example, translating some questionnaires, things like that. And that's the part where the teams will have time to work. But working is not the only thing we have to do here. And here's where the professional track enters, which is the part where we teach them. It's somehow like a workshop with different speakers where we will learn there, for example, tools that we used to need and we are not used, because those are things that at least I have to be learning on the go. And it's related, for example, with grant writing, what to do once you finish your PhD, and then you are in the postdoc and you are waiting for your next step. And sometimes you are just lost. You are just doing some research, and having people that teaches what are your aims? What's the most productive way to move to the next step? And that's the professional track.
Amazing. So it's going to be mainly on the 2 pre-Congress days on that Sunday and Monday. But how is this going to continue throughout the Congress?
So there will be a few options. So Each team working on projects will have a dedicated Discord channel and a GitHub for them. And that will remain available after the end of PainHack. We also have the ECN Center that when it's not used by the ECN for their activities, we can use for people to meet and make progress on their projects. People will be basically free to keep going throughout the project, throughout the Congress and after. However, we won't have like dedicated times in the schedule for that. It's going to be to them to decide.
And I think that it's important that it's 2 days before the conference, because it's a good opportunity, because sometimes also in the early career network, we're a bit disconnected. And I'm doing my stuff here and I meet my people here. And then I go back to Barcelona. I have my colleagues there and I work with them. But having a social event that it's for networking, meeting other people that it's in the same situation as you are, and then the conference starts. So you can go with them, you know the interest of all of them, and then you can start establishing some connections that may be improving your personal life or also your professional career, because then you have more opportunities in the future.
Exactly. And I always find the poster sessions to be a great time to look around, but if you're presenting, you can't exactly do that. And you can't make those connections. So it's really cool that there's going to be this other work event that will connect people that way.
And sometimes you're shy. There's people that it's in the poster session that it's just shy, it doesn't interact, or maybe ask something and then they go away. But if they already know you, it's easier for them to present you other people and then start building and then talking about the posters, which is the thing that we like to talk. I like to talk about my book, my poster, and my research. And then if I have more people that I know to talk about the things I like to talk, even better.
Exactly. Just building community.
That's really important.
Mm-hmm. So how did you decide which projects to feature?
That's a good one. And that was a surprise for us. So at first we started working. So our original plan was to read the different projects and just evaluate them in an easy way. But then we received a lot of projects. It was a complete success. and we had to split the team, because right now we have 7 people working on, we had 7 people working on this. And we had first to try to avoid our own bias towards the different projects. So the first condition for us was to at least 3 of us should be reviewing the same project. So each project was reviewed at least for 3 people. And then we also had to have an agreement regarding the points that we were evaluating. And those points were related with regarding feasibility, open science, how open those projects are, and that they were touching different topics about pain, so that there were projects of interest and things like that. And we had to be an agreement. But even that, it was complex enough. So we had to have an eternal call where we were reviewing one by one, just putting together the points and deciding, once we had like a global view of all the projects we had, to decide between all those projects, how were the ones that scored more points in our spreadsheet.
And I think for us, what really mattered in the end when we took our decision was, first of all, is it feasible? Can they actually make significant progress on their project? Not finish the project, but make significant progress on it during the 2 days of the event. And then also, what is the potential impact and the interdisciplinarity that this project requires? I think those were really the 3 big points that we discussed a lot when we met to decide which project would move forward.
Yeah, and I think the most likely to make good progress during the 2 days, I do think that's really important, because after the event's over, you do want to feel like, you know what, I accomplished something. We did it.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal. That's also why we asked each project leader to define specific aims for the 2 days that they want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So most of them have aims for their project after, like in its whole, but they also have specific aims for the 2 days.
And I think that's very important to establish in any project, any research. As a former researcher, I know projects can last years, and you can come up with things that you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. I'll include that too. And then it just becomes unwieldy.
Yeah, it never ends.
It never ends.
we know.
Yeah.
We really know.
So how do you register for this event? Is it on the normal Congress website? Is there anything special about registration?
Yeah, so you can register directly on the Congress website at the same time as you register for any other pre-Congress event. The specificity is that we have 3 types of registration. One is for the early career development track. And for that one, it's easy. You register and you will be there. It's limited at 50 participants right now, but we can increase that number if we see more interest. And then there are 2 possible registration for the project track. One is for the regular members and the other one is for trainees. And for that track, it's a bit more complicated when you register as you would for any other thing, but then we will reach out to those participants to know their interests in the project so they can select a few projects they're interested in. And then shortly before the event, we'll decide who will work on which project and everyone will be assigned to one project.
Awesome. Is there a maximum per project that you're expecting?
Yeah, we'll have 5 participants per project, so 50 total in that track. And unlike the other one, this one we cannot really increase because we have 10 projects.
Right, exactly. Is there a reduced fee for registration? I feel like I might have heard about that.
Yeah, for trainees and especially member trainees, there are reduction for the participation to PainHack.
That's very nice. That's a good incentive. And I was hearing that you're attracting both early career people and not early career people. Do you want to kind of tell me about that?
Yeah, I think it's really important and something that I got extremely sensitized to as chair of the Early Career Network. There is this kind of disconnect between early career and more senior researcher or clinicians. And in my mind, it's kind of a shame because we have a different perspective, a different approach. Like the more senior people have more an oversight and a global perspective on things that sometimes early careers are still acquiring. While early career know the how to and the latest advancement and the latest techniques and those type of things. So I think we really need both perspectives working together in a more equal fashion so that we can really make progress. That's why we invited both at the table this time.
That's awesome. I completely agree with you because, the early career people, they have been learning the latest science that's coming out. In a way, they're kind of the expert on newer literature, So I really hope that the more senior career researchers and clinicians will also apply and get into this event.
So far, it looks like they are. Some of our project leaders are early career and others are already more senior researchers. So I think we're starting from the right place.
Amazing. So back to the project leaders, are they all basic, clinical? Is there a mix?
It's a mix. We have all kinds of projects. We have projects that go towards updating tools to using AI and coding for something that is very specific. We have some ethics projects that are related with how we deal with some, for example, there is a project that is related with how we should be paying participants in a study related with pain. And we have different views. And I think that there is a lot of different points of view with different interests there. That's one of the main things that we had for the participation here in PainHack.
That's amazing. And that's exactly what you want out of this event, is to hear perspectives from around the world on things like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the strength of ISP, right? To bring all those different backgrounds, but also all the different demographics. So we really hope to bring everyone there.
All right. My last question for the both of you. And Marie, I'll start with you. Where are our listeners most likely to find you at the 2026 World Congress on Pain?
So I'll either be running like a headless chicken from one ECN activity to the next, or I'll be where the coffee is because I'll be horribly jet lagged.
And Saul?
Yeah, same. I will be where the coffee is. And then if you see some kind of talk that it's related with something that sounds like a co-founding or methods related with something, then I'll be there too.
Ooh.
With a coffee.
With a coffee. Awesome. Are either of you presenting posters at the event?
I'm trying to make it to the late-breaking abstract deadline, so fingers crossed.
Awesome. So we'll look forward to your poster. And Saul, we will look forward to meeting you at the coffee cart.
Me too.
All right. Thank you both for joining me today. And now we're going to hear some of the different projects from the project leaders of the Pain Hack.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Irene Joakim-Horo, a clinical research nurse at the Oxford University Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust, working at the intersection of neuroscience research, clinical care, pain, and emerging technologies. Pain remains one of the most complex and subjective experiences in healthcare. Whilst virtual reality is increasingly used for pain management, there is currently no structured framework to guide the ethical design, implementation, and evaluation in clinical settings. My project, the Ethical VR Campus, aims to bridge that gap. As a Pain Hack, we will develop a practical, user-informed tool suitable for clinicians, researchers, developers, policymakers, and patient partners. It will provide clear, actionable guidance to ensure the safe and responsible delivery of immersive digital therapies for pain, establishing a framework that is applicable across pain medical practice internationally. We are looking for clinicians in pain or neurology, VR developers and designers, ethics and researchers, and of course, individuals with lived experience of chronic pain. If you are interested in shaping the future of ethical digital health and making VR safer and more impactful in pain care, we would love to have you on board. I am Irene, and I'll be attending this year's International Association for the Study of Pain Annual Congress in Bangkok, Thailand. I hope to see you there. Let's connect, innovate, and make ethical VR for pain a reality.
Hi, my name is Carrie Janney, and I am a PhD-trained cell biologist and current Doctor of Public Health candidate in Health Management and Policy at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. My project is called Pain Signal, and it is an intentionally audacious, patient-driven platform designed to capture how people actually manage chronic pain in the real world, especially through use of supplements, over-the-counter products, and combinations that are rarely documented in clinical care. I came to this work not only as a researcher, but through lived experience. I spent several years managing chronic back pain, where most of the decisions that affected my pain, what I tried, what worked, what didn't work, never appeared in my medical record. I also watched my mother, who responsibly used opioids to manage some aspects of her chronic pain, lose access after the 2016 CDC guidelines came into force, and transition into largely invisible self-directed pain management. These experiences revealed a fundamental gap. When formal care recedes, pain management doesn't actually stop. It just becomes undocumented. And so, Pain Signal aims to build a mobile open science platform where participants log daily pain, medications, supplements, and other contextual factors. The goal of this project is to detect real-world patterns, potential synergies, and early safety signals in how people combine treatments. This project may not work because the data are messy, they're heterogeneous, and not traditionally clinical. But that's the point. If we can't study how people actually manage pain in the real world, we're missing a huge piece of the picture. At PainHack, I hope to build a functional prototype, generate a pilot data set, and develop a pipeline for analysis of these data. And so I'm looking for collaborators in data science, biostatistics, UX design, clinical pain research, pharmacology, and especially individuals with lived pain experience who want to help shape something that's grounded in reality. Thanks, and I look forward to the collaboration.
Hi, I am Siwan. I'm a pediatric anesthesiologist and a pain clinician and a researcher.
And I'm Tanya Palermo, a pediatric pain psychologist and pain scientist. And we represent Seattle Children's Research Institute and the University of Washington School of Medicine.
We're here because the current diagnostic journey for children with primary chronic pain is unsustainable. Across the globe, these patients are caught in a cycle of investigations and prolonged diagnostic wait time. While we search for answers, the negative biopsychosocial impact of pain continues to compound, leading to secondary disability and negative impact on quality of life before a management plan can be established.
This is a systemic and a global problem. In primary care, there's a perfect storm of high patient volumes, a critical shortage of specialized clinicians, and ever-increasing administrative burden. Although more resources may address these challenges, fundamentally, we need a paradigm shift in how we identify children with primary chronic pain at the first point of contact.
Our project aims to bridge this gap by establishing a consensus-driven framework for feasible and effective screening of primary chronic pain within primary care settings for pediatricians. We're looking for an actionable, evidence-informed strategy that adapts to the diverse realities of global healthcare.
This is why we're inviting you to collaborate with us. Our objective in this upcoming phase is twofold. First, to determine which screening methods maintain the highest diagnostic integrity while remaining feasible for a busy practitioner. And second, to develop the preliminary implementation framework that will guide our future pilot testing and validation.
We are looking for your expertise in this multidisciplinary field to help us refine these strategies during PainHack. This includes pediatric pain clinicians and scientists, implementation scientists, persons with lived experience, and folks with expertise in informatics. Through our collective expertise, we can ensure that the next phase of the study is grounded in clinical reality.
We're excited to dive into this work with you.
Well, see you in Bangkok.
Hi, my name is Dr. Anushka Irani. I'm an associate professor and rheumatologist at Mayo Clinic, Florida. I specialize in chronic pain, central pain mechanisms, and fibromyalgia. And my project, called FibroExplain Pro, focuses on one of the biggest challenges in fibromyalgia care: how to explain the condition clearly and compassionately to patients. Despite being common, fibromyalgia is often misunderstood, and many clinicians lack practical tools to communicate the underlying science in a way that is both accurate and accessible. During the PainHack, our goal is to develop a clinician-facing, customizable digital tool that helps translate complex pain science into clear, patient-friendly explanations in real time during consultations. This will include simple visuals, adaptable scripts, and decision pathways that allow explanations to be tailored to individual patient needs, symptoms, and level of understanding. We'll take a rapid interdisciplinary co-design approach, bringing together clinicians, researchers, people with lived experience, and those with digital or design skills to distill key concepts, build a functional prototype, and test it with users at the conference. We're especially looking for team members with lived experience of fibromyalgia, backgrounds in pain science or neuroscience, clinical expertise, digital health or prototyping skills, and an interest in science communication or health literacy. Ultimately, this project aims to bridge the gap between modern pain science and real-world clinical conversations, improving patient understanding, clinician confidence, and the overall experience of care. I look forward to working with you in Bangkok in October.
Hello, my name is Simon Elners. I'm a physiotherapist from the United Republic of Tanzania, currently upgrading my education at KCMC University in Moshi, Kilimanjaro. My project is Afya Mgongo, which means back health in English. Tanzania has just 0.1 physiotherapists per 10,000 people, yet low back pain affects workers at a rate as high as 78% over 12 months. I live with this crisis every day in clinical practice, and the only scalable answer is digital leverage. Afya Mgongo is a free open source, mobile-first platform that delivers individualized home-based exercise program in Swahili, pain education, shareable via WhatsApp, no app downloaded needed, no cost to the patient. During this hackathon, I aim to build a minimum viable product, filmed exercise videos with Swahili captions, and the fear avoidance education module based on pain neurophysiology education principles, and a Kobo tool data registry capturing pain and disability outcomes from day one. Everything goes to GitHub under an open license. The goal is to improve adherence, reduce unnecessary clinic visits, out-of-pocket costs, and generate Tanzania first structured low back pain outcome dataset. For my team, I bring my clinical expertise as a physiotherapist. I need a team of a developer who knows front end and back end with AI competency for building platform, a researcher to anchor our outcome measures in pilot design, and someone with lived experience, because I aspire to make a tool with a person with lived experience having a voice in it. Afya Mgongo, let's build it together.
Hello everyone, my name is Sunesh Swashte and I am a research scientist and a senior clinical pharmacist at the Kathmandu Cancer Center in Nepal. My project focuses on developing a multilingual, low literacy, patient-reported outcome measure for the cancer-related pain. Pain is one of the most common and difficult symptoms experienced by the cancer patient. However, it is often underreported and poorly managed, especially among the individuals with low literacy levels or those who do not speak dominant language used in the healthcare system. Many existing patient-reported outcome tools rely heavily on a complex language or the written text, which limits their accessibility and accuracy in diverse populations. The goal of this project is to design a patient-centered, culturally responsive pain assessment tool that is easy to understand and use across different literacy levels and languages. We plan to incorporate plain language, visual aids, and alternative response format, making it more inclusive and accessible. This project will involve close collaboration with patient, caregiver, clinician, and the language expert to ensure the tool is meaningful and culturally appropriate. We will also apply rigorous methods such as forward-backward translation and cross-cultural adaptation, followed by the psychometric testing to evaluate reliability, validity, and the responsiveness across the different groups. Ultimately, we hope this tool will improve the communication between the patients and healthcare provider, enabling more accurate pain assessment and contribute to the equitable pain management in oncology care globally. We are looking for the team members who are passionate about the health equity, global health, patient-centered research, individuals with the backgrounds in clinical research, psychometrics, linguistic, design, public health, oncology, or the digital health would be a great fit to this team. Experience working with a diverse population or the low resource settings would be especially valuable. If you are interested in developing innovative, inclusive solutions to improve the cancer pain assessment, we would love to have you join our team. Thank you, and I look forward to collaborating with you all.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. My name is Wacław Adamczyk, and I am a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Lübeck, where I currently do experimental pain research in humans. This PainHack project, which I will lead together with Dr. Eleonora Camerone from the University of Milano Bicocca, aims to address a very important question. How much financial remuneration, if any, should we offer to participants taking part in experimental pain studies? This is an important ethical dilemma, and I am sure many of you asked this question yourself. In our project, we will summarize the literature on this topic and suggest some possible solutions and good practices that could be used in the future studies. We welcome everyone who is actively conducting or designing experimental pain research in humans. However, it is fair to say that the project has a strong ethical component. So, if you have a background or interest in ethics, please do consider joining us. The project may need your expertise. And if you would like to gain insights into research ethics, evidence synthesis, and daily methodology and contribute to the development of payment decision tool, then this project is definitely for you. See you in Bangkok.